The night had that strange silence that never means peace. It's the kind of quiet that makes you feel like something or someone is watching. Rain tapped gently on the broken roof of the abandoned bus stop, dripping onto the cracked pavement like a ticking clock counting down to something inevitable. That's where he sat. A man everyone ignored. A man everyone mocked. A man whose eyes held a secret darker than the night itself. He wore a tattered coat that clung to him like a second skin, his hair messy, his shoes worn thin. To most passers-by, he was just another forgotten soul. But what no one saw, what no one could see, was the truth hidden behind those calm, silent eyes. A truth powerful enough to ruin lives, or save them. When the group of strangers came laughing down the street, their voices loud and careless, they didn't recognize danger. They saw only weakness. The tallest of them tossed a coin in the air and let it land at his feet. Another snickered. "What's your sign, old man?" one asked, her voice coated with mockery. "Which zodiac would betray you first, huh? You probably believe in that stuff, right?" He didn't answer, not at first. He simply lifted his head, slow and deliberate, and met their gaze. For a moment, the laughter faltered. Something in his eyes, something quiet and ancient made them shift uncomfortably. They didn't know that the question they asked wasn't a joke to him. It was a trigger, a memory, a warning. Years ago, before everything was stripped from him, betrayal had already found him, and it had come not from an enemy, but from someone who swore they'd never leave. Trust, after all, is the easiest thing to build in the light, and the first to shatter in the dark. "I know exactly which sign betrays first," he finally said, his voice rough like gravel. "And I know how fast it happens when the stakes are higher than your laughter." The rain picked up, heavy and cold. One of the strangers, curious, stepped closer. "Oh yeah, and what's that supposed to mean?" He leaned forward, and the light from the flickering street lamp caught the sharp lines of his face. People reveal themselves when they smell power, when they taste wealth, when loyalty is tested. Some signs stab first without even looking back. They laughed again, but this time it was forced. None of them noticed the sleek black car parked just around the corner. None of them knew that the man in front of them wasn't Pornot anymore. Beneath the surface of his ruined life was a hidden fortune, buried deep, tied to secrets that could break more than just trust. He'd once owned everything, a private company, hidden properties, offshore accounts. But after the betrayal, after his closest friend turned on him, he vanished. By choice. He wanted to know who would betray again. And tonight, he'd found his next test subjects. He asked them for their zodiac signs. They smirked, played along. One said Leo with pride. Another said Gemini with a careless shrug. A third whispered Scorpio like it meant something forbidden. And the last one remained silent, just a slow, calculated stare. That stare said more than words ever could. "Interesting," the man muttered. History repeats itself. The group didn't understand, not yet, but something in his tone made them uneasy. The way his eyes flicked to the silent one sent a chill crawling up their spines. He started telling them a story not about himself, but about a man who trusted too easily, a man who built an empire with friends who swore loyalty. But when temptation arrived, one of them didn't hesitate. One sign betrayed first, and that betrayal cost lives. The way he spoke wasn't like someone imagining a story. It was like someone reliving it. Every pause, every word, it wrapped around them like smoke, pulling them deeper into a game they didn't even know they were playing. The strangers shifted nervously. Their laughter was gone. The rain soaked through their clothes now, and they wanted to leave, but something about him, something about the way his voice carried, held them in place. Then he said something that made their hearts stop. "I've been watching people like you for years, testing signs, watching reactions, and every single time, the first to betray reveals themselves without even realizing it." A sudden crack of thunder split the sky. The silent one stepped back, just an inch. But he saw it. The tiny flinch, the subtle instinct to distance oneself when danger approaches. He smiled, a slow, knowing smile. Inside the car around the corner, a phone buzzed. A single message lit up the screen. Subject identified. Transfer ready. He wasn't just some man sitting in the rain. He was orchestrating something far bigger. The fortune wasn't just money, it was power. He'd spent years disguising himself, searching for the next weak link, the next betrayer. Because when the time came to reclaim what was his, he wanted to know exactly who would stand beside him and who would sell him out. The group had no idea they'd just stepped into something they couldn't escape. He stood slowly, and for the first time they saw the glint of a gold ring on his finger. Not the kind you find on a desperate man, but one that belonged to someone who once held everything. He adjusted his coat, the rain rolling off him like it had never touched him. Which sign betrays first? He repeated softly, the one who looks away when the truth stands right in front of them. The silent one froze. They didn't realize this wasn't about astrology anymore. It was about instinct, about human nature. He walked past them without a word, but something in the air shifted. The world suddenly felt colder, more dangerous. They turned to follow him, but when they reached the corner, he was gone. The car, the man, the ring, all of it vanished like he'd never been there. But on the wet pavement where he'd stood was a small black card with a single word printed in gold. Just one word. And it was the name of an organization none of them recognized. Yet their laughter had disappeared completely now. What replaced it was fear, the kind that seeps into your bones and stays there. Somewhere in the distance, the man watched them from the shadows, a quiet satisfaction in his chest. He didn't need to expose them tonight. He just needed to know. Because betrayal doesn't happen all at once. It starts with a single flinch, a single step back. And when the moment comes, the betrayer never hesitates. The rain kept falling. The night stretched on, and as they walked away, each of them began to question the others. But who would betray first? The question clawed at their minds, because once a seed of doubt is planted, it never dies. And he knew with chilling certainty that one of them already had. In the end, it was never really about the signs. It was about human nature, the instinct to protect oneself at the expense of another. The kind of betrayal that leaves scars too deep to heal. The truth. The answer to which sign betrays first isn't written in the stars. It's written in fear. And fear always finds its way out. He slipped into the darkness with a quiet smile. The game had just begun, and they'd already lost